Sat down at mile 70, and at this time I was married. And I look at my wife and I was like, I'm messed up bad. Here I am, I'm all fucked up in this chair. I'm at mile 70, I think I got 30 fucking miles to go. I'm jacked up. So I'm peeing blood down my leg.
Whoa.
Pooping up my fucking pack. And I got 30 miles to go. And I can't stand up because my blood pressure's all messed up. This last 30 miles of this race is when I realized a human being is not so human anymore.
This is what he realized. He said success has to be compartmentalized. He didn't say this, but this is what I said. Because the first thing he figured, he said, in order for me to get up and get back in this race, I have to get some nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because his blood sugar was messed up.
Yeah.
First thing he had to do was get some nutrition so that he could what? Stand up.
Right.
Because he still had 30 more miles to go. And then after he stood up, he had to get to moving. Yeah. And once he got moving, he started to walk, and he started to walk a few miles and stuff like that. And his wife at the time told him, you're never going to make it. You're walking 37-minute miles right now. You're never going to make it at this pace.
This became me against this race, me against the kids that called me nigger, me against me. It just became something that I took so violently personal. And I broke this thing down into small pieces. I said, okay, I gotta get nutrition. I gotta be able to stand up before I can get off this curb and get off this chair and be able to go 30 miles. So I went through all these small steps and I was able to stand up. And then from standing up, I was literally walking around with my wife at the time, and she goes, you're not gonna make the time. She goes, you're walking like 37 miles. I got to mile 81, and the second she said that I'm not gonna make the time, I ran the last 19 miles.
So look, the external goal, the time up against what he was doing motivated him, because you know, we talk about this all the time, and a lot of people wrote me. A lot of people that we sent this out, they wrote it back and say, don't compare yourself to no one, and you know, all this different type of stuff. And you know, me and can't even go back and forth about this sometimes. So if he was just comparing himself to himself, remember, he never ran 100 miles before.
Right.
Right.
He could have easily stopped at mile 70 with 2 broken feet,
Right.
shins busted up, kidney damage and failure and stuff like that. He could have stopped it and said, hey, I ran 70 miles a day. I'm better than I was yesterday. Only comparing himself to what it was. But he still had a goal, and it was to qualify for this race because he wanted to be the baddest man on the planet, the hardest man on the planet. And he knew if he didn't qualify for this right here, he would fall back into the category of being the weakest man that God ever created. So there were some things that kept him going. Right?
Right.
There were some things that kept him going.
But before you get to the things that kept him going,
go ahead.
I got to interject here because I was just sitting here thinking about the video itself, and I actually visualized what he was going through just at that moment.
Yeah.
And what I realized, and I think he says it very plainly, he says, the suffering that I went through is necessary. And he was basically saying about the suffering takes you to the point, if you're ever going to do something great in your life, if you're ever going to achieve something, you're going to have to suffer to get it.
Right.
You're going to suffer to get it. To get the body you want, you're going to suffer to get it. To get the marriage you want, you're going to suffer to get it. And when I mean suffer, I mean sacrifice. You could suffer, you could change either way. He had to sacrifice the way he felt. He had to sacrifice the well-being of his ankles. He had to sacrifice the well-being of his kidneys.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, this is how he looked at that, because they're not going to understand that, Ken. And what they need to understand is suffering is a test of life.
Of course it is.
Right. So here's the thing: is every time you're going through a stage of suffering, it's a test.
Yes.
And if
absolutely
you give up, or if you don't pass that test, then a person like him who understands that will consider himself a failure. So if I'm looking at every one of these episodes that come up in my life as a test, I got to pass the competitor that I am. I have to pass the test. The test will not get me. If it is a test of life, then bring it on, because I'm trying to live.
Taylor, every goal you've ever had, in reaching that goal, Was there some kind of discomfort, suffering involved in it?
Yeah, I think with any goal that happens, but one thing that I like that that Goggins has said, he said that when he was experiencing the shin splints and the pain in his feet, he taped up his foot, but it was because he was familiar with that pain. He had been through that before when he was in the Navy SEALs, so he knew, I felt this before, I've been through this before, I know what to do, so I can still like get to my goal. Yeah. I thought that was, sorry, I had to get that out.
Okay, so it wasn't the fact that that he was familiar with the pain. It was the fact that if he knew that he could take more pain, he could suffer more if he made his feet numb.
Yeah.
Right. It was the numbing of the feet.
The numbing of the feet.
That was the purpose of you taking
So listen to what I'm saying is he understands the principle of building up a callus. Even when we're working out, we build calluses up on our hands, or when we squat. The bar hurts our back because you might not see it, but you build a callus up on your back so that you can, withstand the pain. So you have to harden the surface or the skin or the soft tissue. And what he said was, in order to prepare for this type of stuff, I have to build callus on my brain. Mm. So when life throws stuff like this at me, I'll be prepared to handle it.
I had to figure out I wasn't going to be a punk kid all my life. So the only way I could turn it around was to suffer. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands.